by stormy weather. It's out of reach, we're nothing to see. Don't know what to do with my heart. Who's gonna give it up? 'Cause every time it all falls apart. Oh, I wanna believe somebody can be mine. I wanna believe somebody can be mine. This is a mistake with a heart shaking in the middle finger. Sick of all the messy games. When I don't know the rules, I find it for my bad days. Shut down all the fools, they say steady wins, but I'm at the end of my wits. Feels out of reach with no one of me. Don't know what to do with my heart. Who's gonna give it up? 'Cause every time it all falls apart. Oh, I wanna believe somebody can be mine. I wanna believe somebody can be mine. This is a mistake with a heart shape on the middle finger. I wanna believe somebody can be mine. I wanna believe somebody can be mine. I wanna believe somebody can be mine. I'm in blank spaces, in all these places. Can someone comfort me instead of plagues my dreams? I'm sick of falling, then always hitting the ground before I wake. Repeat for goodness sake. Light up all my floors and set it alight. I'm trying to grab the horns and make it right. Running through the corridors, it's fight or flight, fight or flight. I don't try to make it right. Dreams of haunted, get out get reality. So my dreams just never share with me. Why can't I just escape all my memories? Dreams of haunted. Awake when sleeping, conscious of feeling. Fingertips stretched out long, I can't move or make a sound. It's complicated. Feels like I'm baited. Dreams are chasing me. I'm scared of what I see. Feeling all black and blue when morning comes. Is it 'cause I avoided you? when I was gone. Only scraping through, running low, but never mind. I've fallen on ghosts all my life. Dreams of haunted, can I get reality? So remember, dreams just never share with me. Why can't I just escape for my memory? Dreams of haunted. Dreams of haunted, can I get reality? So remember, dreams just never share with me. Why can't I just escape for my memory? Dreams of haunted. Dreams of haunted, can I get reality? So remember, dreams just never share with me. Why can't I just escape for my memory? My memory. Dreams of haunted.
Hey everybody, we are here for another dope episode of Let's Get Activated podcast. This is episode number 162. We're streaming live right now on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter X. We are also on Rockbox FM, Culture Shock Radio, Wapter Music FM, and Radio for Sale. So tonight, I got to introduce a great friend of mine. You know, we've been building for the past year and some change. You know, we had set this up a while ago. So now, you know, it's about damn time we're about to do it. So I'd like to introduce the phenomenal artist, Taylor BW.
Yay! Crowd goes wild.
Yes. Love it. They're clapping. I know they are.
Well, they are out there somewhere.
Yes. So, you know, I'm so happy, you know, to finally have you on.
I know. It's funny. We were just saying before we went live how you reminded me of this interview, and I was like, my gosh, how did that time catch up with us? 2 seconds ago, I felt like we had organized it, and then, but it felt so far away, actually. It was all the way last year, and so much has happened, and now here we are. Yahoo!
Yeah, see, we got the clap. See, I told you.
Thank you very much, Rick Boyshad.
Yes. So, you know, and interestingly enough, you know, you are live from the future because you are 14 hours ahead of me, darling.
I know. How hilarious is that? I know. I am in Australia, Sydney, and we are how many hours? I think we're 14. 14, yes. So welcome to your future.
I love it.
My name says BWW because
I know, right? So, you know, yeah, we're definitely going to have a great vibe, you know, peace to King Kamal, you know, we appreciate the love here as well. So,
I love it.
Yeah, so we're going to have, you know, a great episode. You know, I had to start it off, you know, with Be Mine and Dreams, you know, 2 great songs and visuals. Do you kind of want to let everybody know the premise behind those?
It's so interesting to rewatch those because they were really at the very beginning of my journey as Taylor BW. Be Mine is my first single that I released as Taylor BW, and that was back in 2019. And I'd just come back from a trip in Europe where I was performing there. So it's a bit of a long story, but I think we've got the time. But I'd been away from music for a while, and I decided that I needed to sort of get back into it. Once I was approached to enter this competition. It was called Emergenza, and I'm sorry, I'm going way back further than Be Mine, but just to set the scene. I'd stopped music for a long time, and sort of just to regain my focus on life, and I was kind of drawn back into it. I was approached to enter this competition called Emergenza, which is sort of an international battle of the bands kind of vibe. And they asked if I wanted to audition, or, just to be an entrant as a duo that was sort of a covers duo. And I thought, well, by the looks of this competition, it looks like it's more of an original music kind of competition. And I thought, well, we only do covers, but I do have songs that I've never sung in public before that I could potentially sing on stage in front of hundreds of people. And so I just sort of I replied to them and I said, oh, look, I'm really interested, but maybe as myself, I've never sung these songs before, but I am a singer and I've got these songs. And anyway, they said, yeah, come on and do the competition. And then I thought, well, it was like in a couple of weeks. And at the time I was actually studying zookeeping.
Wow.
I am a qualified zookeeper. And at the time of studying zookeeping, that's when I got this email asking to do this competition. And so I thought, okay, the night that I'm supposed to perform is in a couple of weeks. Who on earth am I going to ask who know, like, to perform with me, who knows the songs, who is a very good singer and can play piano and guitar? And I thought, Dad. And so I approached my dad. I said, I kind of tried to twist his arm, and I said, would you mind learning these songs? I mean, he kind of already knew them. So, because, I sort of played them around the house, very, very rough demos and whatnot. And I said, do you mind? And he sort of was like, oh, all right. And it was the best thing that we could have done. So skip to doing that first competition. I kept getting through, and I ended up winning the Australian segment of it. Which was bizarre for me because I hadn't sung my own songs ever, like my own solo music ever in public. I'd been staying away from doing anything original and all that sort of stuff for a while. So I won that. Then they sent me over to Europe, where I then did the finals. I came fourth. I won Best Singer, which was kind of cool. But it kind of just brought me right back into doing this. And, I mean, I had visions of potentially being a zookeeper and whatnot, and that can potentially whatever, one day maybe. But music definitely called me back. And I thought, okay, well, this is definitely a sign. So I came back to Australia after doing that trip, and I had a whole new idea on what I wanted to do. So that's when I thought, okay, let's get in touch with producers. Let's get in touch with songwriters. Let's see what we can make here. And that's when I got in touch with, I was working with a mixing engineer already called Tim Watt, and he was working on my demos, and then I thought, and then he kind of got in touch with me. He was working with another guy called Tim, so it was a Tim and Tim, and they said, well, we're trying to get more sessions with new artists. Would you like to try it out? And I thought, oh gosh, okay, let's do it. So I did. We did the session, and from that very first session, we wrote Be Mine. So that's where the story has eventuated to. So this is when we get to Be Mine, and I remember going into that studio, never having done any sort of collaboration in terms of just writing for me as an artist. I hadn't even properly thought of the name of my name yet, and so I kind of decided, okay, well, what can I write the song about? And Be Mine, the idea behind it was I'd been single for a little bit, and I kind of thought I don't want to do the whole dating app thing. Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, cut to now, and that's how I've met my current partner. So,
well, congratulations.
Yeah. But, it's just hilarious that, I was like, no, I can do this organically. But that's where Be Mine stemmed from. It was about just the call out to trying to be organic in my, life. And this was just before the pandemic, just before. And so we didn't know any better. Yeah. And dating apps were sort of really at its prime then as well. And I just thought, well, I'm not meeting anyone organically, so, but I really want to. And that's where, basically, long story short, that's where the song stemmed from. And it worked really well. I loved working with the Tims, Tim McCartney and Tim Watt. And we just wrote that song. It was great. It was really, really fun. then soon after that, this was 2020, I released a song called Dreams. But in 2019, I started working with a producer here called Chunky Love, and he's an R&B producer here in Sydney. I know, Chunky Love.
Love that.
I know. Oh, I love it. We sort of just started that song from scratch as well. And I'm always someone that's had very vivid dreams. I've often had sleep paralysis. So, yeah, and I don't get it so much anymore. But at the time, whatever was going on in my life, I just felt that, that feeling when it feels like a demon is pushing you down into the bed and you're like, I'm awake, but I feel like I'm awake, but I want to get up, but I can't. Yeah. That's kind of what I was going through a lot of. So dreams stemmed from that. I had this poem that I had written, and Chunky Love kind of put this beat down, and I didn't have it was just, I just bought a bunch of books, and in there was a poem, and I thought, I just started playing with the words. I've never done that before. I had a poem and then put melody to it. It's usually, organically it kind of happens as you start with a melody and then you kind of work around with the lyrics. But this was the first time that I ever really had a poem that I then put to a melody that I then thought of. And anyway, it worked out really well. And those were my first 2 singles. And then we went into lockdown.
Yeah.
And the world changed. And all of us, we all had to put a halt on everything. I mean, some people, I'm so impressed how many people still managed to release music in that first initial time. It wasn't until, that was 2020, March 2020, when I released Dreams, and I didn't release another song until March, a year later, 2021, when I could finally do so. But it was because, you also had no money. So I wasn't going to afford to release a song. It's expensive when you're an independent artist. So anyway, that's the tea on how those 2 songs.
I love it. Well, I got to say, both beautifully, sung songs. I love them both. I love the visuals too, girl.
Yeah, I got lucky with the people that I've worked with in terms of music videos. I'm very visual. I really love not just, it changes all the time, but I really enjoy having a professional video. It's not just, you get somebody to film you on their iPhone. I really, at the time especially, I really wanted good quality music videos. And I just happened to just stumble across the right people at the right time again, on a financial, speaking financially, I couldn't afford to do the thousands and thousands of dollars it would cost to do a huge music video. But the people that I worked with, they were already, they wanted to work more. They were already really good at their craft, and it was just really good equipment. And anyway, then they wanted to sort of change into music videos. So that's when I just sort of came across them at the right time, because they're thinking, look, I don't need to, charge you a lot, but, maybe we can work together. It's more like a collaboration. And yeah, so that worked out well, because, it still cost money. It's still expensive, but it wasn't nearly as much. And I got really good quality projects, and just shout out to all the amazing filmmakers and crew that I've worked with, some of them have volunteered as well, which is just so lucky. It's very, very lucky. I almost feel like I don't know if I could ever do that again. I was just so lucky at the time. Could I ever, ask for favors again? I don't know. Who knows? Anyway, that's my mind just thinking, what? Should I do that? When? Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah, you should, and then which leads us, see, King Kamal, he's right on point with it, because that's what I was going to get to, kind of like your story now of how you started. So, his first question, he asks, when did you begin your journey in music? And then it kind of goes on into how long have you been making music? So kind of what was your journey? What made you decide, to become an artist?
Well, the story is really essentially, it started, Taylor BW's journey started in that Emergenza when I went to that, when I entered that competition. That was really sort of the scrapings of it's just the beginning of it all. And then it developed from there. I always wanted to be an artist. And I have to say, I mean, I grew up, look, if we want to go all the way back. I mean, I grew up in learning dance, music, acting, and I did all that all the way through my teens. And then I even went to university after that, which I still majored in music, but it was just like I just wanted to have that education behind me. I want to have that backbone. But yeah, music was always a part of my life. I actually joined a funk soul jazz original band when I was just in uni, and we were called Junk. Funk and jazz. It's really junk. Anyway.
Yeah.
And I mean, I loved performing with those boys. I was the honor girl amongst another 6 guys, and we wrote some really great tunes. And it was an amazing opportunity to not only sort of, I mean, that was very collaborative, nothing solo. It was a great opportunity to not only learn how to collaborate, but then also it was my experience. That was what I needed. Like most of all, growing up, you can get all the training you can, but to actually get that experience of being on stage is you can't put money on it. Like it's just that is so rich in itself. So we traveled all around New South Wales, which is where Sydney's from in Australia, and we performed everywhere and anywhere we could. And so that was my sort of grounding in performing on stage and getting my own voice as well. I was very good growing up, always imitating other artists, and also sort of landing and sort of doing a lot of cover shows. You kind of get your own voice because you sing so many different styles, whether it's, imitating some other artist or just performing covers. You never really find your own voice, but being able to, you get a foundation in terms of like your abilities, but to actually know your voice, how you sing, your sound, the tone, it comes from just singing your own stuff, which was very helpful with Junk. But then I sort of switched my focus onto acting for a long time. And although I was very much in the scene with Junk, I really started switching, and I was always into acting. I did it as a child, and I went to performing arts school, and I did it there as well. And so I kind of followed that a lot. And I was going back and forth to LA and sort of auditioning and all that sort of stuff. I was trying to make it, but it took a huge toll. I mean, it took a really big toll on my mental health. It was really a tough time. It was also in that sort of period when people, like weight-wise, like the way you look, right, it can be really, really damaging, especially at that time where I'm not naturally a very slim person, but I really tried to be. And it was to the detriment of my own health. So I eventually had to step away. I put my heart and soul into making it as an actor and did all that, but I knew that personally it wasn't really where I was supposed to go, because it was so detrimental to my own health, both physically and mentally. So I took a step back. That's when I switched my attention to then. I went to Africa and I volunteered with animals there, and I did all these different things in life. And that's when I came back home and I started studying to become a zookeeper, and then fell back into music when I entered that competition. So if you wanted a long answer, you just got it. Because it's a long story, but it really does form Taylor BW and how Taylor BW sort of came about. Because I mean, I can't write the stuff I write without having some sort of experience, and that's where it's all come from. Like all artists, right? Life experiences is everything. It's not just writing songs. You got to know what you're talking about.
Exactly. And it's therapeutic, things you've gone through, and then, your realizations to realize, hey, acting's not for me. It's not good for my health, and it's getting into other things you're passionate about and that's good for your health. But you're clearly meant to do music because it keeps on like spinning the block back, back to music. So
it's funny, isn't it? Like there was it's funny. I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I not too long ago was almost thinking, am I supposed to do this? Because at the moment, you've caught me in a bit of a transitional time. I mentioned that as we were just about to go live, and I said, I'm going through a lot not negatively, just changing. And I'm kind of going behind the scenes a lot more, and I want to be behind the scenes a lot more, but also still be at the front, at the forefront. I can't help it. It's my dramatic flair.
Exactly. You gotta be. You gotta be. We're doing that now.
Yeah, I had to put my hair out because it was just too much.
Girl, it's the curly hair. I feel you.
You've got the most beautiful hair. Oh my gosh.
Thank you. I'm sweating right now, but it's worth it.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny that you say that because that's what I go through.
The struggle is real.
I'm always saying to people, gosh, is it really hot in here? And then I have to remember I've got this like heat pad around me constantly. Yep. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Look at all my fluids. I've got liquids. I've got water bottle. I've got my
water too. Got my water too. We need it. We got to stay hydrated. All this hair, we got to keep the hair hydrated.
I'm constantly hot, and these lights. I mean, honestly. So I went through I'm going through a transitional time, trying to be a bit more behind the scenes. But at one point, I was thinking, am I supposed to do this? And I've also been going through a bit of, not to be woo-woo, and it's not woo-woo because it's just being a bit more aware of myself. I've been reading The Artist's Journey by Julia Cameron, which is a very well-known book. It's about unlocking your creativity. And so one thing that she insists you do forever is do a morning page sort of thing. It's like, it's first thing when you wake up, you write 3 pages of just anything, whatever's on your mind. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just whatever you want. And it kind of helps clear the webs, you know? And so I've been doing that. And that's what I mean by it sounds a little woo-woo, because it's just about recentering yourself. And I've been going through a lot of trying to recenter myself. And in that process, I've also had a lot of, resistance and thinking, am I supposed to do this? So what I mean when I was saying, I can't believe I'm going to bring this up, but and I'm trying to relate it back to your thing saying, it seems like music always just keeps calling you back, because I said to myself, okay, when in manifestation, to go real woo-woo, people say, if you really want to manifest something, it will just happen. And people, try out just saying, I will get $10 in the next 24 hours. And then somehow they end up with $10, or some sort of money or something like that. And that's, just a small exercise of how manifestation works if you do it right. I tried it out in a sense of being like, is this what I'm supposed to do? I want to manifest, a blue ribbon. And it just came to mind. And I just thought, I just need a blue ribbon. Just if I find a blue ribbon somewhere, I'm supposed to be doing music. Because at one point I was really self-doubt, like a lot of self-doubt. And it comes and goes, ebbs and flows. You know how it is. Mm-hmm. Yeah, artists, we're the worst at being critical of ourselves. And so I've really been, for a few days, I was like, maybe this is never going to happen. I mean, I'm really wanting to see this blue ribbon. I don't know how it's going to come into fruition. I don't know how I'm going to stumble across it. But if I see a blue ribbon, I know I'm supposed to be doing this. Mm-hmm. And I was determined. And, I'm not a person that goes all like, I'm going to, the crystals and the energies. Right. But I really just wanted to focus and center myself on it. And I'm doing my morning pages that I was telling you about, like the first thing in the morning. And this is about after like 5 days. And I was almost thinking, maybe it should have happened by now, surely. Mm-hmm. But as I'm writing, I realize that the book that I'm writing in has a ribbon, a blue ribbon that's in it. And I'm thinking, there it is. There's my blue ribbon. I'm supposed to be doing this. And, it could have just been me being like, oh, there's a blue ribbon. Oh, maybe I should manifest a blue ribbon. Who knows? But to me, that was like a little sign that, yeah, I'm still doing the right thing. But yes, at the moment, I'm going through a lot of different transitions where I'm learning a lot more about production and top lining. A lot of people who might not know what top lining is, it's when you just write the lyrics and the melody and you don't necessarily compose anything else. You just write the lyrics and melody on top of an instrumental. Mm-hmm. And that's something that's very common, especially in commercial music. So I'm trying to get more and more sessions where I am part of that process. And so I'm doing a lot more things behind the scenes, but I'm also still writing music. So you know, I was trying to write more and more to release, but it's hard to keep up.
I can imagine. It's interesting how you talked about writing, because King Kamal also asked, what is your songwriting process?
It changes every time. Like when I was talking about dreams, I definitely had never tried this. Like it just sort of happened. I had a books. I brought books with me to the session, and in one of those books, I had a poem, and I'd never done that before. But I had a poem that I then adapted to the melody that I had just written, composed, because I've never really done it that way. Usually, my songwriting process would, you carry your phone around with you everywhere. There's a voice memo app already on there. If an idea comes in my head, I immediately grab my phone. It's actually so clogged that when I press record, it doesn't happen as fast as it should. Like it takes about maybe 10 seconds, and I'm going, quick, I'm going to forget the idea. Hurry up and start recording. Because I've got so many ideas that now it's really lagging when it's like, when you press record. So that's usually my style. I think of a melody first, lyrics come kind of, and I've been using this word a lot, but organically as I'm singing the melody, you just sort of fumble with gibberish and gibberish words to fit in the melody. And then eventually those gibberish words kind of sound like this word, which then could lead on to this word. That's usually how it goes for me. But then again, I could have a poem, put that to a melody, or I could just be playing on the piano here and come up with a chord progression that then I just want to write a melody and lyrics on. And yeah, that's pretty much, it changes every time. But I would say the main process is someone gives me an instrumental. If I'm playing on the piano and I think of something there, I'll just sing the melody, write the words as I'm singing the melody.
Yeah, and that's organic. It being like a different style each time, that really is authentically organic. You know what I mean? You're just doing what comes to mind at the time, So I get it.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't gone to any particular school that has teach me about how to write a song. So you just kind of, which I like a lot more, because then it is more organic. I mean, I'm not to put any poo-poo on like institutions that teach how to write songs, and I mean, all credit to them. They create masterpieces, But I do like the idea of self-learning and the self-learning process, and just going with the flow and seeing what works for you. So it's different for everyone, but that's my process.
Hey, I love self-learning too. Everything I do, it was all self-taught. I haven't gone to school for anything,
It's the world we live in, right? I mean, look, sure, university definitely helped me in terms of just even the basic things like writing an email, composing a letter, even writing a song. But it's not everything. You live through life. I mean, you learn through life. You live through life, obviously.
Yeah,
you learn through living, right? So that's I can't credit, even though I did major in music at university, I can't credit it with how I write music now. Yeah, it's all just from experience. Yeah.
And Bray Hill has a question too. He said, do you make songs from the heart and mind, or for potential fans?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Because it's funny that in terms of this transitional phase I'm going through, it sounds so, every time I say it, I'm like, ugh. But every time, but I'm also currently studying a small business course, which is totally bizarre, but I'm doing it. And part of that is actually looking for your potential fans. Depending on, because it's a business, you look for your target market, right? So I have obviously chosen a business that is involved in the arts of some sort, especially music. And about target market, I mean, that's potential fans. Like, that's the same sort of thing. So yes, I write for both. I write a lot from experience, but keeping people that listen to your music in mind is also extremely important. I would say more so. But look, everyone does it differently. Taylor Swift definitely writes, for a specific audience in mind. She has those fans that have followed her from the very get-go. But then you've got an artist like Kimbra, who is an a Kiwi artist who lives in New York now, and she's, that song "Somebody That I Used to Know."
Yeah.
Yeah, she's the female artist from that. But I'm a huge fan of her, and she's always pushing the buttons, and she writes specifically from her heart and mind, and that also works for her audience because, especially, and the funny thing is I think they're the same age, Taylor Swift and Kimbra. I think they're about the same age, but it's just depending on who your audience is. Kimbra really goes for an audience that are a bit more, not to poo on Taylor Swift, but Kimbra goes for a bit more of a mature intellectual crowd who are experimental and who like to delve deeper into thoughts and ideas. Taylor Swift goes for young. She still writes music that is for 6-year-olds.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't know whether 6-year-olds would really understand Kimbra's music. They're very different. But they both compose and write for their specific idea, for a specific audience. So they do that, but they also, both of them, write from what their own experiences are as well. I think more Kimbra. Taylor Swift definitely still keeps that audience in mind.
Yes.
But that we all know Taylor Swift's story too. So she obviously does put a lot of what she's going through into her own music, and then just twists it slightly so it can appeal, like language-wise, melody-wise, to audiences that are young enough to understand as well.
Makes sense. Yeah. And we're getting some great questions, and King Kamal has another question. He says, what is the perfect song to you? Like, how do you know when a song is ready to be shared with the world?
I never do. I personally, and I know a lot of artists like King Kamal would understand, we are such perfectionists, and it's really hard to always let it go. And I remember hearing someone, I think it might have been Lady Gaga, who just said, sometimes I just have to just step away and walk away because I get really into the nitty gritty. I mean, especially in the mixing process. I mean, even production process, sure. I'm not at that stage where I can do all the things, efficiently. I can't do all the things when I'm in the studio with the producer. I leave it up to them. But when it comes to mixing, I'm like, in the nitty gritty, it's almost like I'm whispering in their ear constantly. Can you just do this? Can you do this? And so much
things. Yes.
And you just want things to be just as you imagine it. And eventually it can really take over, and you can't get over that. You just need to just step back and go, I need to let go, and I'll need to walk away. So every song could be better in my mind, and it's terrible to say that. I think the closest song for me that has really, I would say, is the closest perfect song for me would be probably "Last Child," which is a song I wrote a long time ago, but released it only in 2022. And it's a song that is about it's about climate change and the environment, and my own stance about it. But I definitely like that song. I think that song is probably one of the closest ones I'd say to being perfect in terms of how it really gets my idea across, like musically and lyrically. It's one of my favorite songs that I have written. That would be probably the closest to a perfect song. But every other song, I mean, no matter who I work with, and it's nothing against the producers at all, it's just me. I can't. Yes, exactly. I overjudge every single song I make too. Yeah, 100%. All the time. Yeah. So, and then I can be sometimes a little bit too pushy with the producers. It's like, and they're so kind. All the producers I work with are so nice. They would never really say, Taylor, just let it go. Taylor BW, move away. But honestly, there's no perfect song. It's really hard, huh? It's really hard.
Yeah. No, I get it. I understand it because I've been blessed to kind of be like to participate within the creative process. I
Mm-hmm.
I love the creative process. I actually love that sometimes, instead of the finished product, like you love the finished product, but when you've experienced the creative process, you appreciate it more. Like, wow, we did some changes here. That sound, we had to change a little bit, but then you're like, we've been through all of this, but this is, not perfect because nothing's perfect, but this is so dope. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes, I should probably say that too. Like, I'm not releasing my songs going, ugh, God, this isn't great. No, not at all. It's just no song is perfect to me. Exactly. There's no perfect song, except for Michael Jackson. But that's a whole different story. Michael Jackson songs.
Yes.
but but in terms of everything else, there's always something we can always tweak. And years later, you might listen to that track that you like. I might listen to Last Child in another year and think, oh, I could have done this a bit better. There's always more. There's always room to grow. And so it's almost nice to be that person that can just step back and walk away and just think, okay, this is as it is, because it's up for interpretation. It's up for you just let it go. Just let it go. Yeah. And I'm the same. I love the creative process. It's that mixing part and because I think it's just the anxiety of actually, this is going to be finished. And then I can release it. But what if no one likes it? Because I didn't focus enough on this part and this part and this. So it's all in our head, right? We all get really in our heads, and that's just the part and the special part of being an artist.
Yes, we're all our worst critics, no matter what we do. Believe me, I'll be having some days. I'd be like, I don't like that. They'd be like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I don't like that. But like I said, we're our worst critics. It is what it is.
I think the perfect song, though, in terms of as perfect as it can be, is yes. What if no one likes it? My number one. Yep, biggest question ever. I think the big part for me is if it emotes enough of what you are trying to express. If it gets the emotion across, then that's pretty as close to perfect as I can be.
Yes, and it has to be a good feeling. Like I'm sure, like the feedback you get from the people when they feel the song, when they felt the emotion. That's woof.
Yes,
dope.
It's really nice when you get. I can't. It's because you put these. I'm so self-critical, and it's horrible. It's a horrible little. I would almost call it a disease. Having so self-critical and such a perfectionist. So I do these songs, and I'm always thinking, oh, that was a good performance, but if I'm performing live or something, that was a good performance, but I just could have done this. I could have done this a bit better. But in terms of just releasing a song, anyway. Sorry, I'm going on a tangent, and my mind is going a million miles per minute. I can't quite catch up vocally. I'll step back a minute. But I love when people do send me a message, come up to me, especially if it's in person, come up to me at a gig and say, I love this song. I love that song. Oh, this song really resonated with me. It was a really special. Hi. Hi. Hello.
That's our road dog in the group.
Yeah, that's so cool. Hi.
He'll be on in August. Matter of fact, he's coming on here in August. So
I'm so glad.
I'm trying to get everybody in the group in. I'm working on it.
One at a time. Yep. I'm so glad. Yeah, it's been really exciting to see that. But yes, I had a girl come up to me after a gig just at the beginning of last year, and it was super special. It's one of those things that you just lock in your heart and you keep it close. She came up and she started crying and she said, I can't believe I'm meeting you in person. Because the funny thing is, as I was singing, this doesn't always happen. I'm an independent artist. I don't know who's listening to my music and whatnot. But I saw someone in the audience actually miming to every single word I was saying. And it caught my eye. Obviously, I was performing, but every now and again I'd look at her and she'd be singing along. And I thought, I don't know you. You're not my friend or my family member. How do you know my lyrics? Like I was thinking that in the back of my mind. So when I finished and she came up to me and she had tears in her eyes and they were coming down her face and she said, I'm so happy to meet you. I just love your music. It really resonates with me. And she started going on with all these beautiful comments, and then it made me cry. I was like, me? What about you? You're amazing. And I just, it was such a special moment. So those sort of things, you think, okay, maybe these songs are good just as they are. Don't overthink it, because some people will like it, some people won't, and it's just the nature of the business, isn't it? Nature of the music.
That's true. But
that was really special. Yeah, just got to keep going. Yeah,
keep going. Here's another question. Did you choose music, or do you feel music chose you?
Well, we just said that earlier, didn't we? That every time music just keeps coming back into my life. I was born into music, I will say that, and by that, my mother is an ex-dancer. My dad is a musician and is still a musician, and is currently touring New Zealand. So, and we perform all the time together. And he also has a very big following in New Zealand and Australia. And especially when I was born, it was like, had a number one hit. Like it was like, it was really a big deal at the time, and that song, and that he was really, really well known for. And so I kind of was born into it. I always had music constantly being played in the house. I have such a great, I do credit my parents for giving me such a great foundation in music and in life. And it's like the music varies. I have such an eclectic taste of music because I credit a lot to my parents. So yes, naturally, I think I just always chose music. It was always there. It's always been a part of me. Although when I was a teenager, and how as soon as I hit the big 1-3,
yes,
it was like the world was about to end, and all my self-consciousness came on top of me. And I was once this very confident little girl, and preteen. And then I hit my teens, and it was, I just couldn't sing. I couldn't sing. There was no way. It was too vulnerable. I didn't want to show so much emotion. I was really scared. And also, at that point, I was intimidated by the fact that my father had sort of this following and had such a certain level to him. And so I just shut off totally. It took a while for me to eventually get back into music. So in a sense, yes, I chose music, because then I chose to get back into it. I chose to give myself a good little nudge in the right direction. And then eventually just kept coming back to me. No matter what happened in my life, music always keeps coming back. So it's kind of a bit of both. I feel like every question I'm like, it's both.
It is, yep. And it's in your DNA, according to King Kamal. You're right.
Yes, that's right. So it's always been there. It's always going to be there. I'm never going to give up music. Yes.
Yeah, you can't. You're way too talented. You cannot give up music. You cannot. No, don't do it.
There's something special that happens when I sing on stage, and I don't mean, I mean internally, like something special within me that I feel very connected when I sing. It makes me very, very happy. So I think I should just keep following that feeling.
Definitely. You got to. And it's great that you mentioned your father, because I've seen your TikToks and you guys are performing together. I love it. I love when you two perform together.
It's really a great, because before that Emergenza and that competition that I entered, we had never sung together. Really? I think it might have been once or twice when I was sort of trying to learn how to sing and getting a little confidence, and I would do little performances here and there at school and whatnot. And he would sort of accompany me, but I was so shy. But when we collaborated on stage and I was singing my own music, and it was all up to me, but he was there being my total backbone. He's such an important figure in the development of my music career. It brought us so much closer together. We've always been close, but it just brought us even more close. I mean, it's Phineas, Billie Eilish's brother, actually has released an album called Blood Harmony. And that is actually a term that is used for when people who are related by blood sing together, and it melts so beautifully. And that's purely, it's sort of a DNA thing, and just where everything it sounds just, I mean, you hear Billie Eilish and Phineas sing together, it's just like magic. It just sounds so right. And that's so true. When you listen to so many different artists and who have siblings and they sing together, you're like, oof, it's just something different. And that's the same when I perform with my dad. It's just different to anyone else that I perform with because he's my dad. And it's just, he's also so good. He's so good. How can I be wrong? How can I sound bad when I have this? Like it's just, it's great to be able to have someone who is so close to me be my musical partner in crime as well.
I love it. I love it. And we got to talk about kind of, when I remember you took like a little break and when you came back and you had the design, with the curl and everything that we have in the back, I was like, yes, she's back. So how did that come about?
Well, the funny thing is, and I love that you've put it in our little frame here. Yeah. It's always been my logo, and it's on my merch. It's always been there as long as I've had Taylor BW. And the funny thing is that everyone's always asked, "What is it?" It's just, and I kind of thought, well, isn't it obvious? It's my face. It's like my hair, because people have said, looks like you've got a really big nose, or or it looks like a headphone cord, like an iPhone earphones cord. And I was always trying to defend it, saying, no, it's not like a rope, it's not a cord, it's my hair. And the other day I wore my hair in this particular way, and my hair just went boom, and it just fell in front of my face, and I thought, and I asked my partner, I said, get the camera. This is it. I can finally tell everyone this is where it comes from, because it happens all the time. But, I never remember to actually take a photo, or I'm not, I was done up. So, I had the eye makeup on, and that's kind of similar to the, you see in the logo, that little eye.
Yeah.
And so I thought I'd post it. But also it is, I have been a lot less on the socials recently because I've been going through so much internally and also just musically. And so I just thought, well, why not just post it and remind everyone, I'm still here. and I'm working on things, and there will be things. I mean, recently, even last year, I started releasing music in a totally different sound to what I'm usually performing. So I've always performed pop R&B. Mm-hmm. Last year, I diverted, and because I randomly was connected with a drum and bass producer over in the UK, Wufo, and he and I just connected immediately, and that's when I started releasing. Wow, I just totally changed this whole conversation to what I did last year.
Yeah, this is activated. This is what we do. You're good. We're organic here, so do it. Continue.
You didn't even ask about that. Here you go.
Look, I don't have to talk. Most of the time, people just talk and get it out. So go ahead, girl.
I know, it's crazy. You're so good at this. I see so many of your interviews, and I'm always thinking, gosh, she just lets them talk, and I find out so many amazing things about each artist. Oh, you're gonna make your daughter sleep? No worries. Yeah, you might. And it's always so fascinating to learn. But I'm always before we started this conversation, I thought, gosh, what if I have nothing to say? But here we are, and I haven't stopped talking. So you do it well.
Thank you. Because you're activated. Okay, you're activated.
That's correct.
Safe space. You know what I mean?
Correct. That is so good. I love that. It works so well. I've totally forgotten what the question was. Oh no, I just went on a tangent, but it was basically about how I changed into a more drum and bass pop sound, and that's kind of the sound at the moment. Really, it's really everywhere between Pink Pantheress and Nia Archives, who are two incredible. I think they're both English, actually, both because drum and bass really stemmed from the UK and Europe, and but yeah, I'm really following a lot of drum and bass vibe. I don't know how I got onto that, but here we are.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, but that's what you're doing. That's what you're doing, you know,
Yeah.
because you would Wufo had released Defiant, you know what I mean? And it was a jam, you know. That's what we're closing the show out with, Defiant. But you know, I was jamming to that. I'm digging it.
Yeah, it's a good track. It's actually the first one. He was actually under a different name when we first wrote that song. It was during the pandemic. I had a friend in Australia who connected me with, his name at the time was Noxiv, but now Wufo. And I originally got in touch with him for a remix of Be Mine, which is the first song you played tonight. And that's when we sort of connected, and he did such a great job with that. And then he approached me later on and said, "Hey, I've got this track. I'm thinking I need vocals on it. Would you like to do?" Well, that's essentially an idea of top lining. You know, would you like to write the lyrics and melody? And I thought, yeah, let's do it. It's very different. Okay. And I liked the fact that Wufo adds a lot of jazzy elements in his music, so it really does appeal to the sort of vibe that I am too. And at the time, that drum and bass that's been trickling through pop a lot at the moment wasn't really a thing, but because it was 2020. And so I wrote that song, and we finished it and everything, and then we sort of stored it away for a while. Continued the pandemic. And then later on, he came and approached me with another track, and I thought, oh gosh, that's right. And he said, I'm sort of rebranding. I'm becoming Wufo now, and I'm going really, really into, because at that point, Defiant was not only drum and bass, it's more UK garage. And so, and he sort of he was going through a bit of a transition as well, went more into the drum and bass. And he said, let's try and do something that's also drum and bass. And that's when I also released Blockbuster Love, which was earlier last year. And then, yes, we thought, okay, well, let's release Blockbuster Love and let's bring back Defiant. It's such a great track. And it's one of my favorite tracks. It's just so fun. It was really fun to write as well. It actually happened organically. It just happened so quickly. I did it within probably a few hours, not even. And that's including recording the vocals, because I thought that's when you know you can click, you know, when you click with someone where it just happens like that. And also it helped as well that I didn't have to compose the music. It was all for me. So just writing a melody and lyrics is just so much more easy for me, because I can just not think too much about the progression and just think about what I'm doing, you know, just be in the moment and write. So that's where that came from. And so since then, I mean, he works another job. Wufo is, surprisingly, as incredible as he is, he does work another job, and Wufo, and so his music is almost like a hobby, which I think personally he should just like go full blast and just take over the world with this music, because it's great. But we've had this sort of back and forth for a long time now, which is why it's taken so long to sort of get enough music sort of release again. I haven't released a song since June, which is nuts for me, because I was on such a roll for so long, releasing different songs. And now that I haven't, it feels really odd, but it's been such a good time to really recuperate and decide where I'm going as an artist. And I'm really happy to keep going with the drum and bass. I mean, we've got a couple of songs, and we've got another one. We've got like 3 at the moment that we're ready to go. And then I'm also working on another project, another music project, another solo artist project, which is in the works, and it's not quite there enough yet to really say anything about, because I don't want to, you know, what if it all goes to you know what? So I'm in that process now where I'm trying to work on something new. But Taylor BW is always still here, and even though I've gone more in the direction at the moment of drum and bass, I'm still a pop R&B girl bee at heart. You know, I love a good commercial pop song. So I'm I'm like almost overwhelmed with how many options I have, which is wonderful, as well as trying to do a lot of behind the scenes things too. So yeah, that's me.
But you're doing, you know what? You're doing great. Like, I absolutely love versatility. I love it. You have the talent to do it and be versatile. Why not? Just with everything. I like everything to be versatile. I like the show to be versatile. We don't have
Yes,
just one
I love
thing
that
here.
too. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have such interesting artists on here. It's really, really cool to hear their journeys because it really varies as well.
Mhm.
Really, really wonderful. So I applaud you for that, for embracing all different artists and different genres and styles and backgrounds and everything. So I applaud you for that. It's wonderful. Let's get activated. Woo!
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That's how it's got to be. You know, you got to be open minded. You know, you just got to explore. And then I love, you know, you doing things behind the scenes, going through your transitions. I resonate. There's things I'm doing behind the scenes, building myself, you know, and it's been wonderful, you know, and it's resonating on film here as we're speaking, you and I, you know, just going through these different transitions and
Yeah,
evolving. It's great.
yeah, I'm just finding my feet, and it's such a it's so odd when you go through these sort of moments because you don't know like when the dust will settle and you'll feel settled in whatever you've transitioned into. So
Mhm.
I'm currently right in that stage where I'm about 3/4 of the way, I think, before I'd be really like, cool. This is where this is where I'm at right now. I'm kind of trying everything, which is
Mhm.
both a good thing and maybe a negative thing because there's so many different things. But I think if you just keep plodding away at all these things, the one thing that
Mhm.
you end up focusing on will be the right one because you've kind of tried everything out, and that's where I am at. That's where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah, and the year is still young. We're only in April, you know.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's actually you say that, but tomorrow you were saying it's July.
Right, right.
Next after that, you'd be like, oh, we're in November. It's time for Christmas.
True, true, true.
It happens so fast.
That is so true, you know. So, but I know you have like a lot, I'm sure a lot of plans and goals, which, you know, kind of leads to, you know, great question here. You know, what is one long-term goal that is not yet in reach?
Ooh, oh, that is such a good one. There's a few. There are a few. I'll speak mainly of the highlights. I think a long-term goal would be to be a a sought after songwriter slash top liner, where I traveled internationally and to write with other artists, both independent and major label. That's a long term goal that I have not reached yet. Also, charting would be nice, like
Mhm.
getting on the charts. I mean, hello, Billboard, I'm calling out your name.
Yes.
And also, and in terms of songwriting, in terms of major label artists, to work with some of those top producers that I've always wanted to work with would be epic, to say the least. There are a lot of artists that I long term be just would just love to collaborate with. Um, and then another long term goal: get into sync music. If people don't know
Oh,
what,
yes. Yes.
yes, sync music is TV, film, gaming, the music that you hear in those, ads. So it's all that sort of music that you usually hear on your favorite television show or whatnot. So that's what I want to get really into, and even get my music that I've currently released on there. So that's a big long term goal. So yes, there's a few that I haven't quite reached yet, but I kind of like being able to strive constantly.
Mhm.
I want to be able to hit one eventually. I want to hit one of my long term goals. That'd be nice.
Yes.
But at the moment, the strive, it's always about the journey and not always about the destination. And in fact, there's never a destination. You just keep going. Like, even if I reached all those goals, I'll still have more.
Yes.
We'll
It
all
never
still have
ends.
more. Yeah.
It never ends. Like you never get comfortable. You just keep doing it, you know.
Yep. Never get comfortable. That's not a life well lived.
Yeah.
You can try everything, just try it all and know that at least you tried, that then rather than just settling. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. And Cat's Wreck, he kind of has a kind of a piggyback question off, that last one. Like, what is the short-term goal that will help achieve one of the long-term goals?
Oh my, very good. I would say short-term goal would be to continue those. I was saying I'm trying to get more into the behind the scenes and try to get more into sessions with artists and build up a portfolio of top lining, where I'm more behind the scenes, not the artist, but I am the writer that's credited. That I'm a. That's my goal. That's my short-term goal. Keep building that portfolio. Keep on making those connections and relationships with the right people in the industry. That's my short-term goal. And that's only gonna. There are so many. Again, there's so many. But that would be my main two. Build up my portfolio. Make the right connections. Yeah, and that's gonna help those long-term goals. I know.
Definitely. And those are very feasible goals, you're already doing. You've got artists watching you right now on this show. So if somebody reaches out to you for a collaboration, hey,
I'm not desperate, but I would love to work with you.
Hey, look,
I don't want to sound like I'm desperate, but I am.
No, you know what? It's just building a community, people winning, growing together. I love to see it. You know what I mean? I love it.
Yeah.
But Cat's Wreck, we played a couple of her tracks in the beginning, Cat's Wreck. So just hit the replay. But then you could also look up Taylor BW. You know what I mean? Look her up, Cat's Wreck. She's got some dope stuff. She's even on IG at Taylor BW Music.
There it is.
And she has a link to all of her music and everything too. I'm just don't. Oh, and she's got a website.
I do.
Yes. So it's on there as well too. Taylor BW Music. So you can't miss it. So Cat's Wreck, I think you'll definitely enjoy like her music. Anybody who wants to tap in with her, get on her website, get onto her IG, follow, show love. You guys will enjoy it. I'm telling you.
Yes, you do. I hope you do. My music can be, it's subjective. I'm not going to be hurt if you're not that impressed or don't love it. It's just, I'm open to all people listening to I don't know what I'm trying to say. I'm basically just saying I hope you like it. But no hard feelings if you don't.
Hey, well, I'll approve it. Hey, it's it's Sawmay approved. # Sawmay approved. So I know I'm digging it.
Thank you. That's right. It's all that matters is that, as long as my circle of people as well dig it, it's so important to have such a good circle around you that will, even if they don't necessarily listen to your music all the time, they just are always there for you to fall back on. They are your little net, your little nest that you can just cozy up in. And I mean people not only in the industry, but also just your actual circle of friends and family, or just some sort of support network. Whoever that is for you, don't have anyone toxic around you, please. It's so important. I'm very, very lucky. I will say that, those short-term and long-term goals may be something to strive for, but I feel like I'm already like cocooned within a bundle of love already, which is just wonderful in my life. So yes, winning those goals.
Definitely. You are winning. So final deep question for Taylor BW. So what legacy do you want to leave behind?
I've heard you ask this question many times before.
Yes.
Oh, cool, Cat's Wreck. That's awesome. Mm-hmm. Get in touch. Legacy. I think I just want to be remembered as someone who is. It's hard to know. I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, what would my legacy be? I mean, it's all about music for me, and also, I think my legacy would be. Look at me. I'm really stumbled, aren't I? You got me. You really got me.
You know what? Because it's such an important question, because sometimes we don't think about it, and sometimes it makes you think about your full value, your mark. Everybody is important and leaves some type of mark. So to me, that's very important,
Yes. there is a line in a song that I have not yet released and is part of the new musical project that I was talking about. And it is kill it, but keep it gracious. And by that, I think my legacy is to be the best version that I can be, and hopefully leave an imprint of people who need to feel like they're not alone. And by that, just like, look, when I say kill it but keep it gracious, I want to be really great at my art. I want to be as successful as I can possibly be, but I want to still be a good person, and I still want to be humble. And that's where I say that having that right network around you is that right, circle around you, is so important, because they keep you grounded. They don't let you go away with the fairies. They will tell you no when it's not right. And they'll tell you yes when it's time to dream, and that's very, very important. So it's important to be, to be ferocious in your game and keep pushing and striving to get that success, whatever that means to you. And that's for me, musically, I want to be, right there. I want to be right at the top. And, in whatever area I am in music, I want to be there. I want to be amongst the best. But there's also that importance of staying gracious, keep your integrity, and just being known as just having class. I just want to be able to not leave a legacy that is negative. I'd rather keep a legacy that is, I don't want to be known infamously. I want to be known as someone that is kind, that is curious, that is open-minded, that is loving, compassionate. That's, if anything, it's more about the personality that's most important, and the music comes with it. But yeah, that personality, and just my legacy being that I stay true to myself, and just a really nice and silly person. I'm very silly, and just keeping that youthfulness that we all strive to have. That's the legacy I want to keep. But in terms of musically, I just want to be the best.
Yes.
Like, be gracious, but be the best.
Right. In pure Taylor BW fashion, right?
Try to be. Yeah.
See, that question made you think. See, and you expounded on it. See?
Yeah, I know. You're gonna have to cut out all those long pauses of me being like,
No, it's a good thing. Made you think.
It did. Thanks. And it's funny because I kind of came in knowing that this question would be asked of me, and yet I still even feel a bit like, taken aback by it. It's a big question, and it's a lovely one at that too, because it makes you think. It's exactly right. It makes you think.
Thank you. Definitely. So we have, when we close it out, I know we're going to close it out with Defiant, but first, we got to talk about it a little bit, because this was kind of a different type of video. It was just fun, like a collage of different things going on in that one.
It was. The idea behind it is, well, the song itself is about being in a situationship, and wanting someone that you're with, that you're not sure whether you're with them. Like, are we a thing? Are we official? Because I would like that. But the person that you're with is going, no, keeping it like you at an arm's distance, just inviting you in when they want you to be there, but then ready to not make a commitment.
Right.
So that's what the song is about. And so in terms of keeping aligned with that, I thought, well, I just wanted to film something that was as if it's from the point of view of that partner. Doing all the normal things with this girl who was me, and doing all the normal things that you would do, going on a trip, going on a boat, or, walking in the park, hanging out at home, watching TV, talking deeply, all these sort of things, going to sleep, all these normal things, that I wanted to show, from a point of view of that partner, being like, well, clearly this is not just a situation. There's something more. So in order to do that, I found my parents' old camcorder. And it is legitimately, it's not filmed on anything but an actual camcorder. I think it might be, it's either Sony or Panasonic. But anyway, one of those oldies. With the
age now.
Well, you have to put the tape in there and like you click it in and it goes. Yeah. So I went on a trip to Tasmania, which is when you look at Australia, it's that little tiny little like dot at the bottom, and by dot it is a tiny little island, but it is part of Australia, and it's a beautiful part of the world. And I went on a little trip there with my partner, and I thought, brilliant, you're in charge. You're going to take this camera. You are going to film me just doing things, and occasionally I might dance. But generally, it's going to be you and me just talking to each other, or me laughing at one of your silly jokes, or having a deep conversation, whatever. And so I got him to do that, and then we shot a lot of the footage over in Tasmania, but then some of it back in home in Sydney, and then I edited it together, and it became this, and it's really cute.
It is. It's really cute.
I hope it gets my point across, but in the end, whatever, because it's just a fun little video.
It is. It definitely is, and before we play that, before we close that out, do you want to drop your socials again? And also, do you have any shout outs?
Oh my gosh, there's so many shout outs I could make. I mean, look, in terms of shout outs, I mean, I'm going to shout out to my family and my friends, my parents, who are just the most incredible people in the world, and my partner and my best friends. Musically, I give a big shout out to all the people that have, helped me out on this journey so far, and who will continue to help me out, I'm sure, because I have a great relationship with everyone that I work with. I hope. I say that. I'm like, we all get along so well. But in terms of Define, I want to give a big shout out to WUFO, who I'm still in collaborations with, and I'm excited for the journey that ahead with that sort of side of the project, and a shout out to my little girl, who is sorry, you can see all the my washing. But
all right, we activated Millie.
Yeah. She's fast asleep. Big shout out. Honestly, that little girl is just an absolute, the love of my life. Sorry to my partner.
She's been chilling.
She's like my child. Okay, you can't put your child in front of anyone. I mean, behind anyone else. Right. So big shout out to her. In terms of my socials, Taylor BW Music. It's as simple as that. Yeah, that's the one. The name that's here has an extra W, so just ignore that.
Oh yeah, when you type that in.
Did I type that in?
Yeah, that was you. That wasn't me. That meant because when you enter the stage.
No.
Yeah, when you enter the stage, you know how it makes you type your name. It's
no, that was me. I didn't even see that. I must have been so because I was trying to get there on time, so I just went. That's so embarrassing. So just ignore that and choose that link. It's at Taylor BW Music. That's the same on all the platforms, social media platforms. But you'll find me on Spotify, Apple, everywhere else, just as Taylor BW with the hyphen, Taylor B-W. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome. And in your website, of course, too.
Same thing, BW Music.
Definitely. For the radio listeners, they got to know because, we are, 191 countries. So they're going to be hearing you too,
Yeah. Taylor BW Music for those who can't see me.
Yes. For those who can't see, and download the Village Global Network app. That way you guys can tune in and listen to the show and, hear all this great music and everything too, as well, Indeed.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been such a fun morning. Set me up really well for the rest of the day because I'm in the future.
Yes, you are. No, it was wonderful having you. I was like, it's about time I get my girl on here and, we, chop it up. It was just great. It was an honor having you, come on.
I know I tend to ramble. I do ramble a lot. So I appreciate you letting me have a space to ramble. And thank you. Thank you always for your incredible support, not just of me, but of the community that we met in. Thank you very much. You're just a lovely, lovely human.
You are too. And this is not the last time, you being on here. You definitely always, welcome to come back. And you always have my continuous support, girl.
You likewise. Thank you. I'll definitely be getting in touch when I have new music or this new musical project. I will definitely be in touch.
Definitely. So we're going to close it out then with Defiance. Everybody can have, get their little jam session on and everybody know what you're talking about in the video, like the point of view and all that stuff, But I definitely want to thank everybody for, watching Let's Get Activated podcast. I want to thank you all who follow my girl, Taylor BW. Please follow her. I want to thank you all for your questions, being interactive and everything in this conversation. This was really, really dope. This was a dope night.
Was definitely fun. Thank you. I was not sure which direction it was going to go. So thank you for sticking with me, everyone.
Yeah, no, I got you. This was a great direction, girl. We good. We good here. We're activated, like I said earlier. So
absolutely, we are so activated, and I'm activated for the rest of the day.
Definitely. I'm glad in the future, you know what I'm saying? So I love it. So you got to tell me how, tomorrow is going to be for me then,
The weather is currently, no, I'm kidding. Totally different sides of the world.
It seems like it's going to be a good one, though. If you're already feeling the vibes already in the future, then, hey, I'm sure I'm going to feel them, too, because I'm feeling good. I love it. I'm feeling good after this.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, So I want to wish everybody peace and love, and we're going to close it out with Defiant. Let's go.
You could really be my hero. Let's go to 100 from zero. Ooh, tell me, why do we have to keep on waiting? I will just keep on baiting. Just tell me how you feel. You know it could be alright. Just tell me how you feel. Why you so defiant? Why you so defiant? It could be truly magnificently perfect in harmony. Yeah. Ooh. Don't be overthinking, let it sit. I am gonna make this worth it. But why you so defiant? Keep on, why you so defiant? Keep on, but why you so defiant? Don't be tripping, let it go. Keep on, why you so defiant? Keep on, I've told them my truth. Now it's all on you. But you've been out of your way to stand against what I say. Yet every night we lay. I'm next to you, yeah, I'm next to you. You're next to me while I'm next to you. Yeah. Do you think that we have got so much to prove? Yeah. So why you trying to hide? Yeah. Why you so defiant? Just tell me how you feel.